Well, in the wake of the Bondi terror attack, the Prime Minister has announced a review of new law enforcement and intelligence agencies to report back in April. It'll be led by the former head of ASIO, Dennis Richardson, and it will examine the powers and processes of intelligence agencies. Barrister Brett Walker SC was Australia's first independent national security legislation monitor from 2011 to 2014, and he joins us now in the studio. Thank you so much for your time. Do you think this kind of review is the correct next step?
It's one of them. It's a very important one. And I've got great confidence that Mr. Richardson will necessarily talk about the intersection between federal and state agencies, which is part and parcel of the job.
Could all of these institutions that will be looked at operating at full competency have prevented a terror attack like the one we saw at Bondi?
Well, we'll never know that because something else happened. If you're asking, is it in the nature of things that very competent, very fortunate agencies will always succeed in preventing something as awful as this father and son doing what they did, then I have to say no. There is no way of getting a perfect net against these things.
Can you predict what problems this review is likely to identify? Is it likely to be communications issues, resourcing issues? Do you have predictions?
I have some thoughts. They're speculations. I don't know that it'll be information or intelligence, although looking backwards, of course, we'll now find out things probably that we didn't know before about what these people were doing, thinking and saying. That doesn't mean that there was some deficiency in the fact that we didn't know it until now. That's the first thing. The second thing is I'm sure there will always be a hindsight view that says if only we'd had more officers doing this, if only we'd shifted some officers from another task. In other words, re-examining the priorities, knowing what happened. That is it's very important. We do need to look at the past for its own sake. Truth-telling is very important when such a tragedy has occurred. But obviously you don't do that only for the sake of the justice of knowing the truth. You do it in order to ensure that the really very large resources we have and which are deployed as usefully as possible. Nobody I've ever come across in any of these agencies think that they get it perfectly right every time they make a forecast as to the future. And that's really what we're talking about when we're talking about intelligence, about somebody who hasn't committed an offence, but is, if you like, in very, very bad company indeed.
We are hearing increasingly loud calls from the Coalition today to Anthony Albanese to set up a national Royal Commission. Do you think that there needs to be a Royal Commission into what happened in Bondi?
Well, it rather depends on what else is being done. Federation brings enough double up without increasing it unnecessarily. I can see well and truly an argument for a Commonwealth Royal Commission, but I think it would be a crying shame if we were to duplicate costs and to put witnesses to the trouble of answering to two Royal Commissions and almost certainly to departmental inquiries and certainly to internal agency inquiries that I am quite sure are going on as we speak, because the sheer horror and professional tragedy that this represents for the agencies. This is their mission, to prevent this kind of thing. When they don't succeed, I can assure you, the officers feel awful, and of course they're looking at these things very closely. Will a Commonwealth Royal Commission be able to do things that a State Royal Commission will not have accomplished and which the internal agency and departmental inquiries will not accomplish? You can't say that as a rule. The Commonwealth is not more efficient than the state when it comes to finding people to head inquiries. The witnesses will be the same witnesses in whatever inquiry they are, and the State Royal Commission will be able to find out material from all around the country, not just from New South Wales. It's not true that a New South Wales Royal Commission won't be able to give authoritative findings about what happened, and I hope cogent recommendations about what should be done to improve things.